said, well, I didn't know why or if they could do this. Was this legal? I didn't know what was happening. I just thought it was some shenanigans. It was a glitch. But as I started hearing more people, then it was on CNN, and I'm like, oh, this is a thing. Let me read more into this. So that's what I did. And then I found out about the Reddit platform, because I've never even heard of that. I found about WallStreetBets and somebody called Deep Effing Value, who apparently made millions of dollars on betting against the hedge funds. And again, all of this is new to me. I had no idea. I've heard of a hedge fund. I didn't really know what they did. Didn't care. But as I started reading and understanding more, I started getting upset with the rest of the people. Like, you mean to tell me that you're making $1 billion off of this loss, and you're betting on an organization to fail, and just because of the person who I am, I didn't want that to happen. So I bought some more stock and also got some GameStop, and that's where I'm at. Once they allowed it. Now, when they allowed people to buy and put the ticker symbols back onto Robinhood, they also limited the amount that you could buy. So even at $300 and something dollars, you can only buy 20. And I'm saying only because there's never in my 3 months did it ever say there was a limitation, like you can only buy 20 Tesla stocks. It's never been said you can only buy 20 Amazon stocks.
Sister Inas, can I just jump in here? I want to keep going, but I just wanted to welcome all of the people who are listening also to us live on Facebook and also YouTube. This is Attorney Talib Kareem and also Inas Shabazz. We have Ola and Naima, all from on Clubhouse that are engaging in this really interesting conversation about the future of Robinhood, GameStop, and halal stock trading. And Inas was giving her real interesting story about how she was prevented from buying additional stock in AMC. So we're listening to that. Please, and now continue.
So that was basically it. I started just reading more, following. I got a Reddit account because I wanted to see, what the people were saying. You have to be very careful, though. I'm very much do your research person. So, although I've seen these things and I heard people saying these things, I didn't necessarily automatically believe these things. I started doing some more reading and learning, like what is a hedge fund? How does that work? What do they mean they shorted this stock? Thanks, Richard. I'm gonna try to do that. I'm sorry, I'm talking to the people on Instagram, but. So I tried to learn more information about what was going on, and from what I gathered and from my understanding, they really just I don't even know how to say this. They really
they cheated. they cheated, right? Go ahead, say it.
They jerked around the hood. The people. Robinhood robbed the hood.
Right.
And I think it's very bad that they were able to do that. And I'm waiting for the powers that be, the SEC. Like, it seems like everybody's sitting back like, let's see if they stop talking about this. Because something should be done. This got to be some kind of illegal. And I don't think again, I didn't do it because WallStreetBets told me. I don't even know these people. Everybody has free choice. They talk a lot of crazy things on WallStreetBets, so it's like you don't even know if they're playing or not. So it's not like a group of people got together and tried to manipulate the stock. The stock manipulation has been going on for years. We just didn't understand or know about it. And now that you can buy stocks in real time, before you had to wait some time, put the piece of paper in, hand it up. You see the people on the stock floor it's much easier now. And now that we saw it, somebody saw a flaw in what they were doing and tried to do the opposite of what they did or have been doing to the people for years. And there are some companies that I hear have lost billions of dollars in the last few weeks, all because the people invested in the stock that they were interested in. And now they're mad. They're mad, and I feel like, and these are my feelings. These are not facts, but I feel like a lot of this is going very slow. And it's like they're trying to figure out what their next move is going to be. So that's my story.
But I think you didn't actually give the most compelling part is how much money, and maybe you did, but how much money did you make before they blocked you?
Before they blocked me, I made over like $600, almost $700 on the AMC stock. I bought it at 15 times 50. Anybody?
Right. That's like $650, right?
Right, but I tried to sell
or
it.
750.
It went up to 21, and I was trying to get out, but it was all these glitches. But it wouldn't let me sell, and then when it finally allowed me to sell it, it was at 15. Again,
you said they didn't let you sell. Actually, you said also.
I tried to sell it at $21, but when it's an app, so I'm thinking it's a glitch in the app. I did not know all this other stuff was happening. So I'm like, oh my God, I tried to refresh the screen, sell. It wouldn't let me. When it got to 15, I was finally able to sell it, and that's when I sold it. And I thought I was out and done. And then that's when I found out all the other things that were happening with the with the stocks.
I'm really interested in what you just explained, and from a legal standpoint, we can break down a couple of those things that were happening, because some of you guys might know, and I want to get some other stories, because there might be other stories for folks who are interested in sharing their stories. Please, do so. Let us know whether or not you actually were someone who inviting people to, or whether you were somebody who actually used Robinhood, and if you were you prevented from either buying and or selling stock on Thursday or anytime this past week? So either last Thursday or anytime from last Thursday through this week. And I know I see Nicholas, Michael, Dustin. Ola said that she was on the sidelines, but she was interested in this whole topic. Do any of you guys have any stories to add before we kind of go into some of the legal mechanics?
Yeah, I'm not on Robinhood myself, so I'm based in Holland. So in Holland, I was trading through the Giro. I don't know if you guys know about that one. But I was trading a little bit also on Thursday. So I had some AMC, some COS, and some GME. And there was a little bit of a delay in the platform. So I was trying to sell, I think, COS at $100, and it didn't go through. And then I was trying to sell AMC at $17, which also didn't go through. And then after that, it started going down really fast. So I think eventually I sold it at COS, I think, at around 66, and AMC at like 13. So that was kind of.
That's now again, the interesting thing, and I'm very glad that you chimed in, Nicholas, from Holland, because you can see that what was happening wasn't just limited to AMC, but it was a global possible stock manipulation by these companies that we all thought were working for us. But we now know we're not working for us, but we're really working against us. And we're going to talk about what we've learned in the past days about how these stocks make their money. But I want to see if there's any other folks who have questions or who have stories. I know Michael, if you want to, or Shanice or Shannon, if you guys have any stories before we go into the legal mechanics, I'd be, Sister Inas, please invite them to come and share their stories, like Nicholas's story. That was very interesting. Him having this experience from Holland. Shannon, did you have a similar story? I don't know if she can hear us.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. I didn't know you guys were going to invite me to speak, but so I did purchase a game share stock, but I don't think I'm the expert. I only bought one share initially, and so I sold it when it went to 500, but now it went down to 50 and went back up to 90. So it's just up and down, but I am following the Reddit page with a guy who is investing, and he still has shares in there. And he believes in the future of the stock and believes that it will go up. So they have people that's following him. So we'll see. I mean, of course, we all say, you don't want to jump on the stock once it's on TV. It's too late. But if people are invested, then that's how this game works. The more people invest in the stock, the more it goes higher. So the future of it, I'm not sure. I know that the shorts end in April, so I'm not sure what will happen between now and then, but it is starting to go back up again. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm not the expert stockbroker, but I'm just trying to try something different here in 2021.
No, I really appreciate you you sharing your story, Shannon. And you use Robinhood, right?
No. I use Ameritrade AD.
Okay, so you were using Ameritrade. Now that's very interesting because I know that Ameritrade is is it like Robinhood, or do they charge you a fee for your trades?
So initially they used to charge a fee, and then when the robo investors started, they stopped charging a fee.
Interesting.
So they no longer charge a fee. So, but as far as AMC, I had AMC from last year because a lot of the shares went down for companies. I thought, well, AMC will go down, and then once this pandemic is over, it'll go back up. But we're still in it, so I was surprised and shocked that it went up to 25. But so I did profit off that, but I just only wish I would have bought more shares. I mean, of course, I bought more than one with that, but I wish I would have bought more shares because it did quite well from $4, and it went down to $2, and it went back up to 25, and now it's up and down. So we'll see what happens with that, because now the movie theaters are open, but it's very limited. Very limited. Not everybody's going to see it, just for safety reasons and being afraid, I guess.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story, Shannon. And again, we are broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and also on Instagram and Clubhouse. And this is a very interesting conversation because for those of us who are people who adhere to the rules and regulations of a higher power, that being the creator of all the worlds, we know that we have again a kind of an ethical obligation to make sure that our investments, our money, is being made in a way that is not harmful to our souls, right? And so one of the things that we're going to be talking about here is not only the future of Robinhood, which is a trading platform unlike the one you were using, which is Ameritrade, and I'm very glad that you shared that. But also, again, the GameStop, stock, and some of the other almost 50 that were promoted by the WallStreetBets Reddit page, and then generally halal stock trading. And so if you were checking us out on Facebook or on YouTube, you would see that I have a platform that is called it is called that you can go Zoyo.finance. Now, Zoyo.finance is a platform that allows you to determine whether or not the stock that you want to buy meets the specific code of ethics that we as people of faith, particularly Muslims, are responsible for adhering to. Now, a lot of people don't know much about, halal stock buying or Sharia compliant stock buying, but you can probably kind of think about it in the context of, what are those things that we are supposed to not consume, right? Not supposed to consume alcohol. We're not supposed to consume pork. We're not supposed to consume gambling. We're not supposed to be consuming, sex outside of marriage. So, I mean, pornography. We're not supposed to consume. And so those are the main, kind of prohibitions. We should not also consume money that is made through, essentially exploitation, economic exploitation. And that's considered usury or interest. Compounded interest, people might not know of or might not know is really very exploitative, right? You borrow, let's say, you want to go and buy a car, and the car costs you, $30,000, right? Well, at the end of the term of the loan, which may be, 3 years or 4 years, do you know how much you'll be paying because of compounded interest? Does anybody know? You'll be paying double in some cases, depending upon what your interest rate is. And that is how, again, these financing companies are making money. And that is a part of what is the economic exploitation that, in fact, some of the Redditors were seeking to combat. And that's, again, what we're talking about. But I don't want to go into that much of the legal mechanics as of yet, because I still want to hear more of the stories. I know we have Suleiman and also Vijanya. I'm probably butchering your name. Please forgive me if I am.
That's right.
Would you like to share with us your story about either use of Robinhood or another platform in trying to buy GameStop or one of the other 50 stocks that were being promoted by WallStreetBets?
Not really. I'm not much into stocks. I'm here to learn more.
Excellent, excellent. And Suleiman, did you have any stories to share, like Inas or Nicholas?
So I actually just joined, so unfortunately I didn't hear anyone's stories. I've been investing using Robinhood since about 2017. I'm also not a novice broker. I'm Series 763 licensed. I have been since 2007, but I've only been trading for myself since about 2009. I haven't taken on any new clients. So with that being said, Robinhood, I think it has its pros and cons, and we saw a lot of those cons pretty recently. The pros are that it's a no-fee broker, and that it's a very, very slick app that really spells things out, so anyone can get invested right away, and they can start trading. And then they have the instant deposits, which, a lot of other brokerages have that, but really what the great advantage of Robinhood initially was that it's so easy on the eyes, essentially. Whereas sometimes you go into these other brokerage tools and it looks like a F-15 fighter jet with all of the things that they have there.
Right.
So yeah. And so I didn't get in on GameStop. However, I got in on Nokia, BlackBerry, and AMC, along with Dogecoin. And honestly, for every one of those besides Doge and Kia, I ended up losing so much money with that because of how late the Robinhood cleared my trades and wouldn't cancel my orders. Which, honestly, it was just a very small percentage of what I was initially investing regardless. I would never put like all my eggs in one basket, which I know a lot of people feel as though is the pertinent thing to do when they see something starting to rise. They just want to cash in as much as possible, but that's really where people get burned, and that's how a lot of people did get burned. And I'm not perfect myself either, even after all these years of experience, and experiencing these glitches firsthand on Robinhood really showed that they're not really for the people at all. See, when you invest in Robinhood, you yourself are not the client. You are the asset of Robinhood. What they do is they take, and I'm sorry if someone mentioned this prior because I didn't hear it, but what they do is that they get your order for a trade and they send it over basically to one of their other clients, and they say, hey, this person wants this trade at this price. And what they do is if they see it in the market at a lower price, they will buy it, they will sell it to you at a higher price. Say, for example, you want something and it's close to $100 and you get a market order, which means like whatever the price is on the market, I'll pay for it. And so its actual cost is $100. Robinhood then sells it to you or like Robinhood's clients then sell it to you at $105. $100.05, and they're the ones who pocket the 5 cents. Now, granted, it only sounds like 5 cents, but when you roll that up with all the investments that people are making, and not where there's enough people on here, where retail investors that are taking down whole hedge funds, these guys are making tons and tons of money by giving all of us worse trades. Now, the reason that I have Robinhood, besides my other accounts, is honestly, it's ease of use, and it's not something that I do with my main investments. This is just what I use for money that, like, if I lose, God forbid, like, it's not going to impact my everyday living. It's not going to impact my nest egg. This is like the money that I can be speculative with and just go in and out of trades. I will say on Dogecoin, thankfully, I got in pretty early. I've done pretty well on that. I'm still doing pretty well on that. But yeah, Robinhood is still a pretty good resource to use if you're getting in for the first time. But don't try and jump on any sort of hype with it, because they will stop you and they will shut you down. And it's not the first time that this has happened. This is just the first time that it's gotten into the public light. They've already gotten in trouble with the SEC in December 2020 for these same issues. So
now that's very interesting that you said that, because I wasn't familiar with Robinhood's past malfeasances, if you will, and I am and I have been listening to some of the experts in stock trading and the critics like Shamant, who a lot of folks might know from Social Capital, who broke down the fact that, as you said, the customer in the Robinhood, kind of scenario is not the individual trader, right? Their customers, as you pointed out, are these either clearing companies or, in some cases, hedge funds, who are basically studying the trading patterns of the individual retail customers, and in some cases betting against them. Can you speak to that a bit?
Sure. So I haven't followed too much into it, but I can speak to it a little bit. So the main one with Robinhood was a company called Citadel, and Citadel was the main essentially clearinghouse that Robinhood was using. They themselves were actually very heavily invested in the hedge funds that were betting against GameStop to begin with. And when you're in the hedge fund sphere, and particularly working at that level, it's pure nepotism that kind of operates from there. Everyone in the industry knows each other. They're friends. They knew that if one hedge fund suffers, they're all going to suffer, because people will just come against them very regularly. So what they did was that when that hedge fund that shorted GameStop to the point where they bet against GameStop, where they betted more shares against GameStop than GameStop actually had. That's like someone saying like, I will make sure that like if you have 50 apples, I will bet 100 apples against you. I will take everything that you have and burn you to the ground. And that's what those hedge funds were trying to do with GameStop. And because the investors saw that they were shorted so heavily, they're like, that's not even possible. If we buy these stocks, they will lose their money. Now, hedge funds also aren't stupid because, they're very smart people. This is what they do for a living, but they got beat at their own game. But the other one saw that if this particular hedge fund loses, they'll just go after the rest of us. So what they did was that they injected, I think it was close to about $13 billion into that hedge fund to keep it afloat. It might have been 8. It was either 8 or 13.
And Citadel, and again, we're talking about the hedge fund that was short. Was what was the name of that hedge fund? Melvin Capital, wasn't it?
Yes, Melvin Capital, and I could be wrong about the exact percentage, but I think Citadel had like about a 40% investment in Melvin Capital, and they're the ones clearing the Robinhood trades. So
you can see a total conflict of interest there. I just want to make sure people are following that. Please continue.
Yeah, just because there's a clearinghouse and a hedge fund, they definitely are two separate entities, but it doesn't mean that one can't invest in the other or it can't be controlled by a parent company as well, despite them not sharing information. Now, the way that Robinhood still makes it seem legit is that these clearinghouses request a certain amount of capital that they have to hold, that they ask for as an asset from Robinhood. Usually it's a nominal percentage, which Robinhood typically already has. Like, we're looking at Robinhood as an app, as whatever. At the end of the day, it's a bank. They're holding our money and they're working with other banks, right? So the other bank, or the clearinghouses, which in this case is Citadel, they said, hey, normally for these stocks, we want you to give us like 1/100th of the price just for a good faith deposit, but we can change these terms anytime. And what Citadel did was it told Robinhood, hey, we need at least 100% down, meaning like the money has to come from the other banks before we will accept it from you.
Now, can I just ask you this question? And you may know this, I don't know if you do. Has that term ever been used before? Has that requirement, and this is again, can you clarify? This is a non-government clearinghouse. It's not like the Security Exchange Commission, right, or the Federal Trade Commission, or FINRA. Even this is a totally 100% private organization. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Any clearinghouse that you operate through will never be from these organizations. These organizations are only there to monitor and police the hedge funds, but otherwise we always operate through private businesses. It's never through a government subsidiary whatsoever.
And I wanted to make sure that was clear because a lot of people were thinking that Robinhood was compelled to act on behalf by the government. And I wanted to make sure that people knew that was totally bogus. But the second point,
totally false. Sorry, go ahead.
No, finish your statement.
So yeah, I saw this thing on Reddit going around saying that, I'm someone who works in Robinhood. We just got a call from the White House telling us to shut it. Yeah, that's not how it works. That's never how it's worked. The White House doesn't do that, and it's a conflict of interest for them too because they want free market enterprise and they also want the votes. Where it would go to if any government body does it whatsoever, which again wouldn't happen in that time period, it would be through New York State first because the New York Stock Exchange operates in New York. So the financial department of the financial wing of New York State would be the one to be like, hey, what is this sort of risky trading that's going on here?
Now, but the Securities and Exchange Commission, wouldn't the Securities and Exchange Commission also have some oversight, particularly in their stock manipulation rules?
Sure, but the securities and the SEC is a reactionary regulator. It's not, so like things have to go through, then it has to be reported to the SEC, and then the SEC has to start an investigation, and then they have to have a ruling after the investigation is done. So it's not something that like someone can just give a call from a government and tell this company like, hey, I want you to stop doing this. It's counterproductive for them. But you know who can call them and say, I don't want you to do this? They're investors.
Right.
They're actual clients, the people that they make their billions off of.
And let's make sure that folks
to us for free, quote unquote. But just like Facebook, just like Google, just like YouTube, these things aren't free for us. We are the asset. They're collecting our information and they're profiting off of us.
And for folks who don't know where we are in this conversation, let's make sure we recap. This is a conversation about the future of Robinhood, GameStop, and halal stock trading in general. We have myself, Attorney Talib Kareem, with Abe Legal, which is a platform helping day traders to perhaps find lawyers who can help them recover any lost profits. We have Inas Shabazz, who is a day trader herself, who was one of the people using Robinhood and prevented from actually, again, getting the profits possibly that she had, sought to gain. She was able to profit substantially before they closed it down. And we also have Suleiman, who is a licensed, stock trader, and has been giving us some good background. We're broadcasting on both Clubhouse as well as Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So, Suleiman, if you and again, there might be some other people who have some stories, but I have a couple questions I want to put in the bucket that I'll bring back out to you. But let me ask before we do so, Naqib or Karima, do you guys have any stories about your either ability or inability to buy stocks on on Thursday or anytime thereafter using Robinhood or some of the other platforms as was discussed earlier? I think you guys are on mute. You want to unmute yourselves? Okay.
Hey there, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I just found the name kind of enticing, so I joined. I'm actually not from Canada, so we don't have Robinhood. I'm sorry, I'm from Canada, so we don't have Robinhood.
What do you have? But do you have Ameritrade?
We have something called Wealthsimple, which is the closest thing to Robinhood, I guess.
Okay, good, interesting.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah, I'm just listening in. If you have any, I just find the day trading scene to be, because you mentioned halal stock trading, and I find that to be, personally, I'm not. If you're doing it, that's cool. That's you. I find that a bit of a contradiction, the whole idea of day trading and also halal trading. But yeah, we can get into it if you want, or you can continue. I'm here to listen.
Absolutely, and we want to absolutely get into that, and I'm glad you raised that, and we'll talk a little bit about that with Suleiman and Inas as well. Karima, did you have any war stories to share as well?
Not really. I actually joined because I have been interested. Actually, as of this week, looking into how to find stocks that are more halal, I would say friendly. At first I was not interested in stocks. I thought it was more in a sense gambling, and I thought about the appreciation, but then I realized I learned that it is permissible. So this is literally I guess it's in my order for me to have seen this room. So I had basically wanted to know some tips or steps in identifying halal stocks.
Excellent. And so let me.
We are going to get into that shortly. I just want to reset the room. I just want to say that because I've never did this before. But welcome to the room. Assalamu alaikum. That's peace be unto you and everyone in the audience. This room is going to talk about the future of Robinhood, GameStop, and halal stock trading. And I have Brother Talib and now Brother Suleiman with us. Is that how you say your name? Is it
It's Solman, like Solmano Parse.
Okay, and Brother Sulman.
To everyone.
Brother Sulman with us, and he has some insight. We are not experts. I am not an expert. I will not profess to be an expert in anything. But inshallah, we want to all be guided towards what is permissible and righteous for Allah. We have to all make those decisions at the end of the day. When we study, read, some of us know more than others. And if you would like to share, we would love it. I do have a question for, I believe it was Sister Shannon, who mentioned that she had Ameritrade. Now, I was told that there were other platforms that prevented or limited the purchase of certain stocks. Robinhood was featured, and Robinhood has been talked about a whole lot. But I also have Ameritrade. I just don't do any day trading on there. I use my long investment stocks on Ameritrade, and Robinhood is where I learned about trading. Ameritrade is extremely, for me, difficult. Going from Robinhood to Ameritrade, it was like Chinese, which I don't read. So it was hard for me to understand. So I just had a question. Did you hear of any prevention of purchasing stocks in a bulk? Where did the stocks disappear for a moment and come back? Did you have any of those experiences?
No, ma'am, I did not. So I think for Robinhood, they prevented you from buying more than a certain amount of stocks, but for Ameritrade, they restricted your margin. So you can borrow money to buy stocks with Ameritrade, even if you don't have the money. So basically, you had to have your own money to buy it. They did not restrict the selling. I know Selman was saying earlier, I was just like, oh my God, when he was saying that he put in for certain orders and they didn't go through, and he put in for $100, they put 105 cents. Like with Ameritrade, none of that has happened. When you put in an order, as soon as the stock hits that price, it sells it immediately. I'm not aware of any third-party vendors with Ameritrade, so I haven't had any troubles. And I know some of the other participants were saying earlier that they weren't familiar. Well, Ameritrade has lots of videos, and it has helped me tremendously in learning about stocks. With this whole thing with AMC and GameStop, I learned more about options. I didn't know what that was before, so I'm also new, and I'm still learning as well. So they have a lot of videos of Ameritrade. I'm not familiar with the Robinhood platform. I've never owned. I never used that app before, so I'm not familiar. So I couldn't tell you, oh, this is better or worse compared to Ameritrade. But I will say that I haven't had any trouble understanding. They have the percent gain or loss. They have your increase for the day versus overall, and they have like a chart of your history as far as the worth of your stocks and everything like that. So they've been good in making it simple in my eyes. But yeah, so the stocks were restricted, but not that you could not buy a certain amount, just that your margins were restricted.
Okay, I understand. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, and I wanted to bring up, because a couple of people asked for a couple of different resources, and I want to share those resources with you all right now. One was, what resource can you use to see if a stock that you want to buy is, again, Sharia compliant? And the answer is Zoya.finance. And
could you please spell Zoya?
Sure. So Zoya is spelled ZOYA.finance. And, and I really wish that, Clubhouse had a kind of a text feature or something like that you could at least, share this type of information with. But it is what it is, at least right now. But if somebody can put that up on your, maybe put it up on your Instagram, and maybe let folks know that they can go to that, Zoya.finance. And we actually invited some of the brothers from Zoya.finance to join this conversation earlier. But we and I don't know if any of them are here. If you are, definitely raise your hand, and hopefully Sister Inas can pull you up on the stage. We also were asking about, are there other day trading platforms that may not have the type of restrictions that again, we saw at least both in Robinhood and also a platform. I think Ameritrade said they had a possible issue, and also a platform in was it Sweden or was it Hungary? Which country was that? That the other gentleman was mentioning. I forget it. But never. Does anybody you remember Inas?
I don't.
Yeah, it was another Holland. Maybe it was Holland. But the other platform that is connected to Shamath, who again is a Shamath, and I'm going to butcher his name, but Polyapata. Do you know how to say his name, Suleiman? Shamath.
For Shamath, I don't think I was here for Shamath, so I'm sorry. I didn't see the name written.
No, it's Shamath Polyhapitia, right? And he is the co-owner of the Golden State Warriors, former Facebook executive, and he is a leader in a leading critic of the way in which Wall Street is working. He launched a SPAC that invested in, and some of you guys, are you guys familiar with SPACs? I don't know. I think you probably all are, but it's a kind of a holding company that that merges with an existing company as a way of helping to take them public. But his holding company, Social Capital, Hedo Sophia, they are invested in a platform called SoFi, and SoFi trades both cryptocurrency as well as stocks. And so again, I'm not I don't know again much about SoFi other than the information I've shared with you. Suleiman, you are out there. Have you used SoFi before? Are you familiar with that platform?
So I've heard of SoFi. I have a bunch of colleagues who use it, and they really like it. I personally never used it because it also focuses a lot on loan refinancing, mortgages, credit cards, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like a full, I guess, like from a non-Muslim perspective, like a full financial hub, if you will. You could consider it no different from like going to Chase Bank, where they also offer like credit cards, mortgage loans, etc. But these are also things that people will end up trading on. So it's not really something that I personally use, but it has received very good reviews.
And again, the question that we're trying to also get to the bottom of is, what can we do as Muslims versus what is making money? Because again, we know that as Muslims, we are not able just to invest in things that might be making money if it is also hurting our souls, hurting our relationships with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's the question that we are also getting at here. Again, that the platform that I mentioned for you to be able to go to is zoya.finance. You can download the app, and what the app does is tell you what is Sharia compliant or not. And then if you pay a little bit of money on a monthly basis, I think it's about $14 or so, they give you a very detailed explanation on what you could basically enjoy beyond in terms of information, what information is out there on the company that might also better help you understand their label of Sharia compliant and not. So those are some of the key things I want to because I'm going to have to peel off certainly, Sister Inas, but one of the things I want to share is that abe.legal is another resource that folks can go to. We are launching, and it should go live tomorrow. We're launching so you might want to bookmark it in your on your browser. We're launching a platform for day traders who feel that their rights have been violated. So there are about over 24 class action lawsuits now against Robinhood. But we believe that there are other actors that are also responsible. And again, Suleiman, I don't know if you want to share this, but again, the reporting is that, for example, Google was responsible for eliminating thousands of negative reviews on the day that Robinhood stopped trading. And so the question that we are looking at is whether or not Google was invested or somehow connected to these hedge funds that were basically suffering a loss. So that's a question. Another question that we have is, again, the syndicate itself. What are the rules, again, behind the syndicate? Has this, this type of requirement to have 100% capitalization? Has that ever been done before, or was this the first time? I know Suleiman mentioned that Robinhood got into trouble before. Perhaps one of the things that I'd like to hear before I drop off from you is if you can maybe dive into what type of trouble before, and then talk about the precedent. So I'm going to ask, reserve my comments, from this point on, and just go back to Suleiman. Can you chime in on that?
Sure. So, some people might not like the things that I'm about to say, and I do apologize beforehand, if I offend anyone. The thing is that I think it was Shannon who said that she didn't have any issues with Ameritrade, and I'm glad that you didn't see it that way either. There were trading restrictions on Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, Robinhood, Webull, because they all use similar clearinghouses. So there's only such a small group that ended up using them. So I'm glad that your trade specifically didn't end up seeing any sort of issues with that. But unfortunately, a lot of other people did. There were issues now their restrictions were different. So, and it wasn't just Robinhood. Robinhood is just in the limelight for it. There's also Webull, which is another really solid first-time use investment app. I downloaded it. I use it a little bit too.
And I have Webull too, but I just learned over the course of this week that Webull is a Chinese-owned version of Robinhood. And I don't know if people have been following the whole technology theft from the Chinese. And I've just, again, over the past half year, been educated to what's going on in that space as well. And I own our technology company has possibly been the victim of some of this Chinese technology theft. Did you know about the fact that they were owned by the Chinese, Suleiman?
I was definitely familiar. The fact is that a lot of the things that we buy or use, whether it be the parts in the phones that we're communicating with right now, whether it be the apps that we're in, or even the buildings in the U.S. that we inhabit, a lot of them are actually owned by Chinese companies. With that being said, it's not just the Chinese companies that may have like spy programs. If any of us have Instagram connected to or like linked to our profiles, you then physically have to go into Instagram to turn off a feature that stops it from listening into your conversations that you're having on here, as well as whenever you're around. That's how targeted advertising works too. They listen in on conversations that you're having when your phone isn't on, or rather when you think it's not on, and then they play those ads for you later because you seem to mention a keyword that like hit it off for them. So that's been around. You physically have to disable those features. But going back to the
excuse me, can you? I'm sorry, you've now opened up another way, and I was trying to get off, but please, can you tell me on Instagram, where do you disable? How do you disable that feature? Because I really think that's very key to find out.
Sure. let me actually go through my Instagram real quick and see if I can do it. So first, you have to have your Instagram connected to this app, and then hold on 1 second. Screen. And then you have to go click on your user profile, go into settings.
Is it under privacy or security?
It's under privacy.
Okay, got it.
I am failing at this right now. I apologize. Settings, there we go. Privacy, and then accounts you follow. Sorry. You know what? I can't say it right off the top of my head, but I will find it very quickly after I get off, and I'll post it on my Twitter.
Is it on the security feature?
Yeah, you could totally. It's a very easy Google. All you have to do is just go into Google and type in how to turn off Instagram or Facebook from listening to conversations.
Okay. Good flag. All right, and I plan to do that. Maybe if somebody is doing that real time, please come to the stage and let us know. But can you hit on that point about the precedent for what happened with Robinhood before we conclude?
Right. So I was going to say, people aren't going to like what I have to say about this, most likely. I agree what Robinhood did was very wrong, and that they didn't let the free market operate the way that it should. But at the end of the day, we all signed an agreement with Robinhood where, most of the people, myself included, don't read the terms and conditions. One of the things that was always there was that they have the right to change the amount or take away entirely of what's being traded on the platform and how much buying power they're giving you right away without your funds clearing. Technically, when you hit that deposit, it's a credit that they're giving you. That's not actually your money. They don't have it yet from your bank account. That still takes 3 to 5 days to clear. Even when you buy a stock, the stock market takes 3 to 5 days to clear it. But because we live in a digital world, everything operates on good faith for the most part. It seems pretty instantaneous to us. With that being said, the clearinghouses can then change the rules, and thus Robinhood has to change the rules too. However, where Robinhood is wrong in this, and again, it wasn't just Robinhood, it was other trading platforms, but where they're wrong in it is that they're the ones that make it seem as though no, everything is free and everything is instant, and that's the beauty of using the app. Whereas if you're not a sophisticated investor who's combed through the terms and conditions and knows what to look for, you're going to get caught with it. So that's one of the issues that they had in December. I actually got caught in that myself, and I lost a considerable amount of money in that because they halted trading for a specific company called GLSI, and when it was rallying and it was going up in price, when I wanted to sell, they wouldn't let me. When I wanted to buy, they wouldn't let me. They executed the orders after the halts were removed, which is understandable because that is the stock market exchange doing that. But because they were so far delayed, they would not get the best price for the investor, which in this case would be me. That's kind of my main gripe with Robinhood in general, that no matter the price that you, or any of these no-fee brokers, you're not going to get the best price. You're going to get the second to best price, and the person who's getting the best price will pocket the difference.
Well, I really am very grateful for you giving that background. And Suleiman, I'd like to see if you could connect with me on Instagram. I think I've tagged you because we're having a part 2 of this conversation. That's for everybody who's listening. And we're going to do that conversation on a platform called Hopin that allows people who don't have iPhones and who are not, some of the so-called cool people who were invited to join Clubhouse to participate. And that's set for next Saturday. And we'd love for you, Suleiman, to join us because I think you have a level of insight that I think other people would like to know, and perhaps there's some other things of interest that you might have to share. But before Inas, I leave you. Would you like to invite anybody else to share their stories to see if we can record those before we peel off?
Absolutely. If there is anyone else who has an interest, well, don't have to be interesting, but had any dealings with Robinhood during the debacle of the last few weeks, please unmute yourself and share what you may have experienced. Nicholas is saying, where were you from again, Nicholas? We forgot.
I'm from Holland, but I'm currently living in the Philippines now.
Oh, I want to get there. Holland. Okay. So we have people from all of over the world that had, experience with this stock trading and more so this week. So if anybody else wants to share a story, please feel free. Well, and if not, we will be ending soon. There is a part 2 to this conversation, as Brother Talib mentioned, that will be next Saturday. What date is that?
I think it's the 13th at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
At 1 o'clock on Hoppin'. So if you follow Talib on Instagram, I'm sure you will be sharing that information, and you can follow me as well. And as soon as I have the information to share, I will share it on my platform as well. We will again be talking about more about the halal stocks, and I know that it's interesting for some people. So if you want to learn more, we talked about Zoya Finance, that's ZOYA.finance. And if you feel like your rights have been violated through GameStop, Ameritrade, Webull, or any other platform that you were using trying to participate in stock trading within the last few weeks, and maybe have been stopped because of the Reddit community, WallStreetBets happenings, it'll be good for you, or if you know somebody that has mentioned it, have them join in and share their story so we can see, what has been done. We don't technically know exactly if any laws were broken, or if the contract was violated.
We do think that there were some laws. We haven't proven it, but we do think that there were.
But we think that there has, and if you were a part of that, we would love to hear more about your story.
Can I just add one thing before you guys peel off?
Absolutely.
So I noticed that you got you were using the term day trader a lot. Just in my opinion, I don't think that you should use that particular term. Mm-hmm. Day trader has a very specific meaning, and it means someone who makes multiple trades, both buying and selling within the same day. Most people on Robinhood do not have that ability. You need to have $25,000 in your account to be able to do that. There's a whole process, and if they catch you doing that, then you're flagged as a day trader, and you're not allowed to make trades like that for up to 90 days, regardless of the amount of money that you have in your account. It's, in my opinion, it's a silly protection because the person investing knows the risks that they're taking. However, that is something that is required by most banks at this point. So I would just call it like investors, but I would just not use the term day trade, because as soon as you put that and anyone looks into it from like an official capacity, it would be like, well, these were clearly not day traders, and that would diminish your case.
Thank you very much. Again, it shows how much we need to rely upon people like yourself who are certified and licensed stock traders. So absolutely, we look forward to you joining. Did you see my like or follow on your Instagram account, Suleiman?
Yeah, I saw your follow. I followed you back as well.
All right, great. So then let's be in contact. You can share your email and other contact details with me, and we can follow up with you offline. But it really has been a great conversation, Sister Inas. Allah reward you for your leadership, because clearly I mean, you and I talked about this just from, a general GP standpoint, but, I didn't think when we first started talking about it, it would matriculate into such a really robust conversation with people from around the world. So may Allah reward you. And may Allah protect us all from, falling into the traps where we, are lured into things that we think are, good for us in the short term, but not focused on what's good for us in the long term. And indeed, I've seen that when I went and first of all started buying stock. I didn't know anything about halal stock investment. I mean, not I knew about it theoretically, but didn't know that there was a mechanism like Zoya.finance to really help me. And what I did is once I did get on the app, I immediately just sold all of my my stock, which I thought were halal, because I had like Ford and some other companies that I'd like, well, these aren't, engaged in, selling at least pork or alcohol. But I didn't know and understand all of the transactions that these companies were involved in. And also I didn't know about all the rules. And I feel, and so when I sold them, I just felt very comfortable that, again, I'm doing it all for, fi sabilillah. I'm all doing it for the, pleasure of Allah. And so I knew that when, again, money that I have in my bank account is not mine anyway. It's Allah's, And so, I felt that I was basically using his money, for things that were making him, pleased. And so I knew that whatever happened in terms of the stock trades would be in my benefit. And as it turned out, I made, a couple dollars or so, you know what I mean? So I felt pretty good about that. And I think that that's why I encourage us all to check out Zoya .finance. And again, if you are a small investor who feels that your rights have been, basically injured, then definitely, connect with us at abe.legal. You can bookmark that site, and you can hopefully see by tomorrow that we're launching this new platform or a new page on that platform that will allow you to get your rights, secured. So, Sister Inas, I'll turn it back over to you to close.
I know we have Shabrina. If you would like to speak before we go, you're welcome to do so.
Yep, it's probably just a little bit. My name is Shabrina. I'm from Indonesia. I'm an active stock trader since 2016, but it's mostly in Indonesian stock market. And I just jumped into the US stock market like a month ago because I can finally find a platform which can accept non-US citizen. But yeah, regarding the halal stocks, I'm really interested to know more. Because in Indonesia, the Indonesian Stock Exchange kind of like have a list of Sharia stocks. So I think that's really interesting that you also introduced to us the Zoya.finance. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to explore more on Zoya.finance. But generally, the criteria of Sharia stocks in Indonesia is that that the company that we invest in don't engage in haram activities, or like probably producing pork, or even have interest-bearing loan more than 45% in their balance sheet, as well as like if they engage in the usury business like banking. Banking is also considered non-Sharia in Indonesia. So I think that's really interesting to explore more and learn from you guys.
Well, well, we want you to make sure to join us next Saturday when we'll be having another global conversation on Hopin. If you can make sure that you follow Sister Inas and myself on Instagram, hopefully that information will be there. And I don't know, Inas, if we want to have another part 2 on Clubhouse, a day before the Hopin conversation on Saturday, we might want to do that next Friday. It's up to you.
We'll see what Allah has in store for us. I'm not really sure what my schedule looks like at this particular moment, but I can look into it. But Shabrina, thank you for sharing that. I was literally just talking with someone and saying that I think I want to move to Indonesia, and here you come. So, and then I watched a movie last night, Eat, Pray, Love, and she was in Indonesia, and it just keeps coming to me. So I might be there sooner than expected. But that's just a personal thing with me right now. But I think that this is a good conversation to have. I'm glad that it's global. I feel excited about that. We have someone from Holland via the Philippines and someone from Indonesia and Suman. I'm not sure where you are, but I'm sure it's not where I am, which is all
in New York City.
Cool. New York, DC, New Orleans, Philadelphia. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We're going to be closing. If anybody has any last moments, make sure we follow each other. Shabrina, I see that you do not have Instagram on your profile. I don't really have a Twitter. But do you have an Instagram?
I do have it, but I forgot to add it. I just joined the Clubhouse yesterday.
Okay. Well, I follow you on Clubhouse, so if you put it on there, I'll follow you on Instagram or follow me for sure. Inshallah. So thank you all for joining us for this conversation about the future of Robinhood, GameStop, and halal stocks. And inshallah, we would love to see you all. Tell your community, Muslims, your masjid, to join us next Saturday, February 13th at 1 o'clock for a further discussion about how we as Muslims can invest in the stock market.
All right. Subhanaka wa bihamdika wa astaghfirullah wa la ilaha illa anta wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Wa alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, I forgot that we were. All right. Well, guys, I'm sorry. That's the end of the conversation. I'm really looking forward to hopefully editing out the last few minutes when I didn't know that we were even still engaged. But definitely check out Zoya.finance. Check out SoFi and also Abe.legal, which are platforms that are set up to help small investors, not to be confused with day traders, to make sure that they are getting their rights protected. This is Talib Kareem with the Academy of Muslim Achievement and also Abe Legal signing out. May the Almighty be with you all. Assalamu alaikum.